I bought my female coworker lunch and helped her pick out birthday gifts for her boyfriend, and my wife found out and is pissed at me, thinking that something else must be happening because her friend told her we were eating together and I didn't. Posted by you/throwaway just got food. First of all, my 34M workplace has 3 floors. One floor has an evenish number of guys and girls, the other 2 have mainly women. This new girl, Alice, joined a few months ago. I didn't really know a whole lot about her, but we have hung out on a few Friday evening after work drinking sessions. Not a whole lot of interaction prior to that, we just chat on occasion when we see each other at work or if she has to come to the floor I work on, or I have to go down there. She is aware I am married. They met briefly at a company event shortly after Alice started working there. This was when I really first got introduced to her. Hell, most everyone here knows I'm married. 2 pictures on my desk are of my family. Anyway, the other day I was heading to lunch when Alice asked me to grab some lunch with her because she needed some advice. I said no problem. We went to lunch. There's a food court a couple of buildings away, so we went there, and I paid for both of us to grab some Thai food. We chatted for a while, then she began asking for advice, which was the purpose of grabbing lunch together. She has a boyfriend. He's into fishing, hiking, and rock climbing, that sort of thing. So am I. It's something my brothers and I, as well as our sister, grew up doing. One of the girls on her floor mentioned that I'm into these things and she should ask me, because she wanted advice about what kinds of gear to buy for him for his birthday. She wanted to buy him a compilation of equipment, some fishing gear, some hiking, some climbing. So we chatted for a while about that, and on her phone, I showed her some supplies she could pick up for him and told her if she needed more help, just ask. Then we went back to work, and that was it. So I came home and forgot all about it, played with the kids, watched television for a bit, washed the dishes, and that was it. It wasn't really something significant for me, so I didn't mention it. 2 days later, my wife, Karen, 37F, asks me where I was for lunch that day. So I told her, grabbing lunch with a coworker. She's angry, and I'm pretty surprised as to why. I just told her Alice and I grabbed lunch. She wanted some help picking presents for her boyfriend who has similar interests that I also have. Told her I bought lunch, we chatted, I showed her some stuff she could buy on her phone, and then we went back to work. I might as well have dug my own grave saying that. She's been absolutely furious the past couple of days, throwing scathing comments and that sort of thing. I'm pretty hurt. I don't see what I did wrong. Maybe not telling her immediately was wrong, I guess, but I didn't do anything with ill intent toward her or our marriage, so it just didn't bother me. It also didn't help that her friend saw us at the food court eating lunch, which was who she heard it from. Now the thing about Alice, she's younger than Karen by 11 years and is a typically attractive girl, perky and fairly cheerful. Quite a few guys hit on her when we're at those after-work drinking sessions, so I guess this is a factor, because on Saturday when I asked my wife if she wanted to grab some dinner, I got a very sullen, "Maybe you should get lunch with Alice" in response. Another time she did mention maybe you just want a younger woman or something. I don't. I love my wife. I love my marriage. I'm a faithful man. I don't think what I did was so wrong. I get her hearing it from her friend might have made it sound much worse than it really was. Yes, Alice is attractive and younger, but that doesn't matter to me. However, it seems to bother my wife a lot. Was I really wrong here? How can I address this situation? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. It sounds to me like her friend who spotted you has given her a damning description of what you were up to, which is coloring her reaction. Probably less "oh, I saw your husband having lunch with some woman the other day," and more like "hey, I saw your husband at lunch with some hot young girl the other day, they looked pretty friendly." It sounds like your wife is also possibly a bit insecure. Whereas men have the stereotype of getting more attractive with age, women are often seen as past their best once they hit a certain point. She may be feeling sensitive about her own appearance and declining youth, so hearing that you got lunch with someone much younger likely prodded an already sore spot for her. I would sit down with her and try to get her to open up about why she's reacting like this. Does she feel secure in the marriage? Is she genuinely worried that you might be looking elsewhere, or was she just embarrassed that a friend thought you were up to no good? Whatever it is, it would help to find the root of why she feels like this, so you can work it out with her. Commenter 2. It wasn't appropriate for you to buy her lunch, really. But mostly, I find myself wondering whether you have a pattern of being oblivious to these sorts of things. Either way, keep your distance from Alice, and cut down on the work drinking sessions. Ops response. Our work drinking sessions are a tradition. I don't go as often anymore, but I've been with this company for 9 years, so no, I won't be cutting down the couple of times a month I do go out. My wife has her own Friday hangouts with coworkers as well that she does sometimes. Downvoted commenter 3. If it upsets your wife, it is a boundary for her. Do you love her? If yes, then you should respect her boundaries. For me, the biggest problem would be that you bought this woman lunch. When is the last time you sent your wife flowers at work to surprise her, or spent money on her randomly? What I see is that your wife is upset that you did something for another woman randomly, and enjoyed it, and she feels that you are not doing that for her. I may be totally off base here. Just my perspective. I hope it helps. Ops response. I buy my wife nice things quite often, and we treat each other to random nights out frequently. We just got lunch, and I helped her pick stuff for her boyfriend. That's all. People keep making it seem like we went on some extravagant lunch date. It was Thai food in a food court that was noisy and kinda smelly. Nothing special. Downvoted commenter 4. People keep telling you why it's upsetting to your wife, and in response, you are defensive and making excuses. While your intentions were innocent, as everyone else has said, you still messed up by paying for her lunch and by not telling your wife. Learn from it going forward instead of getting defensive because everyone isn't validating you. Ops response. Well, it's easy to get defensive when everyone is basically telling you, oh, you shouldn't have done this, repeatedly, multiple times. I can read. I get that. I know that now. I just came here because I wanted to know if what I did was really as bad as it seems. This sub can put people on the defensive very, very easily sometimes. I do have another account that I use frequently, so I know that from seeing it myself. Commenter 5. I guess I don't see the issue here. My significant other goes out to lunch with different coworkers all the time, and he's the type of person who usually pays. I wouldn't even think twice about it if someone mentioned that they saw him out to lunch with a pretty woman. Some of his coworkers are pretty women. I don't generally ask him about who he ate lunch with or where he ate, unless we are planning dinner, and I don't want to go to Thai if he's already had Thai or whatever, because honestly, that would be a really boring conversation to have every day. I'm not sure why everyone is telling you that you're wrong or that your wife is correct in being so upset. Just give her a little time to cool down, and then explain the situation better, when tempers aren't flaring. I really don't think there's anything wrong with what you did. Ops response. Thank you. I thought that was a little weird too. I mean, I could understand the whole telling me I should have told her, but, oh, you shouldn't have paid, you're just doing it because she was pretty, your wife is right to be pissed. Seriously? In the future, I'll remember to mention that kind of stuff to her, but I had no ill intentions towards my marriage. Op adds an edit to his post. Since this is apparently so important, yes, I paid for my coworker's lunch. I did it to break $100 bill, and she did in fact repay me immediately afterward. I didn't include this because where I'm from, it's pretty common for one person to pay for everyone's food if everyone is buying from the same place, then everyone else just reimburses the cash afterward. Hope this clears up stuff a little. I didn't think it would be such a huge issue. Op adds a second edit to his post. Also, yes, I've had lunch with coworkers before, sometimes in groups, sometimes just one-on-one. Sometimes they're with guys, and sometimes they're with female coworkers. This has never been an issue before, which is also why I didn't mention it. It wasn't important, and it's not something that's bothered my wife before. Just thought I'd put that in as well. Update 2 weeks later. So it's been a few days since everything happened, and Karen and I have talked things out. One of the first things I asked was why she got so angry about me having lunch with my coworker. The original post and its responses pretty much gave me a solid idea, but I wanted to hear it from her. At first, she said she didn't know, but after a while of not saying anything, she admitted that she'd been having a hard time at work lately. Given that we'd both been busy, and hearing from her friend that she saw me with some young, hot girl laughing at lunch, made her feel like crap. She admitted that she got really insecure and afraid at the thought of me carrying on with a coworker. The fact that she was younger, and that her friend described Alice as hot, all didn't help. She said that having kids, plus a hard time at work, plus gaining a few pounds, nothing significant at all, made her feel threatened at the thought of someone younger who hadn't been through all of that. She said she should have known I'd never do something like that, and that never once in our marriage had I ever given her reason to think that. I told her once again the reason why Alice and I had lunch that day, and even showed her some of the stuff I showed Alice to purchase for her significant other. It didn't exactly go back to normal ASAP, but she did apologize for lashing out and not giving me an opportunity to explain myself, as well as not trusting me. Since then, we've had a couple of date nights the past 5 days, left the kids with a sitter, had some dinner, etc., etc. All in all, things are back to normal and are better than before. In other news, Alice mentioned that her boyfriend loves the gear I suggested she buy for him. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. By the way, your wife's friend sounds to me like a catty beach. I would never say, your partner was out with a young hot chick. I would say, oh, by the way, I saw your partner at lunch yesterday, and then slowly introduce it to prevent automatic suspicion. Part of this was caused by her being a bad friend. Commenter 2. Yeah, I had a friend who got herself a slow fade from me for this kind of crap. I saw your husband leaving a bar with a super young, drunk girl, his hot mess sister, who you met at our wedding. Calm down. I saw him out for breakfast with a super cute, very young Asian woman his boss, who is actually 19 years older than us both, awesome, and was coaching him for a management interview. Sit down. And finally, why can't you just accept that he's probably cheating? What? In my case, toxic friend had finally thrown in the towel after years of putting up with and giving second chances to a cheating spouse. So I guess it didn't surprise me much that every time she saw a man and a woman having a cup of coffee together, she assumed they were also boning. However, we couldn't be friends and continue to be close, as she undermined my marriage and questioned my husband's character again and again. Some people do it out of protectiveness, some out of a malignant desire to create drama, but either way, it's so rarely helpful to the person it's aimed at.